computer. All right, so first of all, Miss Cindy, thank you so much for taking your time to share your information with me and how you felt about the process. So I wanted to ask, initially when we started this process, were there any hesitations or reservations about the process before we began?
I remember one realtor who made me cry twice. She made me cry twice because she was so stressful. She was high maintenance. And so instead of supporting me and comforting me through a challenging process, she added stress. So I said, this is not okay. And I got a different realtor who was good. And more professional. And then I also had a realtor once where he encouraged me not to participate in the inspection. And then I found out later that the fellow inspector had claimed that he had gotten up in the roof, but when my electrician came to do some repairs, he told me there were a bunch of uncovered junctions, exposed junctions in my attic. So then I thought, no, the inspector did not go up in the roof, and my realtor should not have encouraged me not to be there. He said we would be in the way. In contrast, well, I'm moving ahead. So I felt very comfortable working with you from the beginning because we talked and built rapport and you got to know me as a person.
Good, I'm glad. And I think that's important. The decisions that you make are based on knowing, or the decisions that you're going to make, I need to know you to help make the best decisions for you. So I think it's important. I don't think you can do your job effectively without beginning to know the person that you're working with.
Yep. And I definitely felt that. It felt really good.
Good. Wow. Now, just open-ended, is there anything you wanted to share about the process, about working with me, about VIP Colorado Living? You are more than welcome to just share what you'd like.
Okay. I always felt that you put my interests first, and that you weren't trying to just make a sale and get your commission. I always felt like that you were professional and you had tremendous integrity, and you only wanted to work with people who had integrity. And so if I needed someone for something and I asked you for a recommendation, I knew that you would refer me to someone with integrity and someone who would do a good job. The inspector we worked with was amazing. You were there with me for every inspection from the beginning to the end. So different from prior experiences. I felt that you really calmed my fears and you educated me about the process. And you educated me in a way that with the level of detail and patience that I hadn't experienced before. You brainstormed with me because we talked about what type of property I was interested in and what I wanted to do with it. I was going to do some renovations and I had some visions. And so we worked together on finding property that would meet those visions. And I enjoyed going out with you. I didn't feel awkward. I didn't feel like that with that other realtor. I was with her. She was so stressful. She was so stressful. And I thought, you made me cry once and maybe I'm overly sensitive. But after the second time, I thought this is supposed to be a relationship. We're supposed to work together. Absolutely. And so I never felt that with you at all. And you taught me to trust you because I tend to be a little anxious and I would tend to be afraid that I would lose the deal in negotiations, that I would upset the seller and then they wouldn't want to work with me or that, and I would get nervous. And you would say, trust me, Miss Cindy. And you also taught me to walk away when it wasn't fair. Mm-hmm. And those things were hard for me. But as I came to trust you more, you were right. I needed to be firmer in negotiations. And I needed not to fold and give in to whatever based on fear that the seller wouldn't be happy with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember times when you would say, no, Miss Cindy, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. That is not appropriate. That's not right. And we're not going to do that. And when you were saying not right or not appropriate, it was pushy, other realtors who were pushy or sellers who were unfair and unreasonable. And I learned that you were right. And you would say that what's meant for you will come to you.
Yes.
And I ended up purchasing the perfect home, the perfect house. And the other ones, now I'm grateful that the other ones didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't the right ones.
Yeah, because what's for you is for you. Yep. Absolutely.
Yep. And so I learned a lot, I learned a lot through the process, and I learned I always valued you, but I came to value you even more and be able to understand what you bring special to the work and to the relationship. It's the educating, it's the hand holding, it's the talking me out of my anxieties, putting them in perspective. It reminds me of the doctor-patient relationship, in that it's not just what the medical needs are or the housing needs. It's also about supporting your client or your patient and making sure that they're going to be okay emotionally and mentally too. And you were amazing.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that, because I say it all the time. This isn't what you do for a living. This is what I do for a living. And so my job is to help facilitate the process and make it easier for you, make it the least amount of stress. I mean, finding a home or moving or buying or selling, it doesn't matter what avenue you're on. Those are difficult tasks for most people. It takes time out of your life. It disrupts your life in a manner. Mm-hmm. And it should not be a stressful situation. I think I'm mad at that other agent.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes. Yes. I don't like that at all.
No, she was, oh my. And I learned, I did learn. And I didn't, the good thing is, I know my personality, and I can be a little bit of a pushover. And, but I also knew that I couldn't work with her through the entire process, and I paid her I did compensate her for what she had already done. But I knew I couldn't get through that whole process with her in a way without experiencing a lot of stress that was unnecessary.
Yeah.
And if your realtor's making you feel more anxious, how can you trust them?
Yeah. They're there to
stay with them.
Yes, our job is to make this process smoother for you. Mm-hmm. If Absolutely. You were going to go through all the stress, you could have done that on your own for the most part. Just be stressed about it and do things, you're not quite sure of. That stuff that's stressful. But our job is to make that process easier for you. So I apologize that you had to go through that awful situation.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And then we also worked on a number of other, projects. The big project was the income property I was looking for. But you also helped me with looking for something for my adult children, which didn't work out for my son. I ended up selling that property after all, because he wasn't ready. I renovated, and then we sold it to a very nice young woman.
Yes. Yes.
And then you helped me in transferring property to my daughter. Yes. And giving her, she took on the mortgage. It wasn't a full gift, but I helped her with her down payment on that. Absolutely. And that's been a wonderful property for her. It's been perfect. Yes. For a young mother with a growing family, for a first time. Yes. The duplex and a first time home buyer. in an up and coming neighborhood. You know, both the homes that we, the one that my daughter ended up with and the one that I ended up with are both in up and coming neighborhoods.
Yes.
And so I just feel, you know, I feel fortunate. I feel blessed. I feel grateful. You know, and I highly, highly, highly recommend you, because you're the best realtor I've ever worked with.
Thank you. Thank you. And besides that, I think we have just become family.
Yes, we have.
Through the process. I think that is another thing that I find, is that I have a very large family now. I just, you know, when you meet wonderful people like yourself, you just are family to me. So
yes.
Yes.
I feel that very much so. And again, for that, I'm also grateful, and I feel blessed for that too. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I enjoy our time always. I appreciate you so very much. And thank you. I enjoyed dinner the other night when we got together. That was amazing.
That was fun.
I've talked about it since I left. Just the restaurant as a whole was a really great experience for both of us, I think. So
yes, and we'll do more.
Yes, we will.
Like the adventures of trying out new places with different
absolutely
food items, and you know, trying out things we haven't tried before. So
yes,
that's also a good fit for us.
Absolutely. I think we do well together. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to say thank you, Miss Cindy. Thank you so much for your kind words. And I absolutely enjoyed working with you. I think you are an amazing woman, very talented and gifted with a heart of gold. So I appreciate you so much more than you know. And thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. So big plans for the weekend or relaxing?
I have a few. I've got some new folks moving in. Did we stop? The audio stopped? Okay.
Oh, no, let me do that. I'm sorry. Thank you.
That's okay. I just saw something pop up on my